Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Welcome back to Gun Talk. So why do people buy guns? Well, the number one reason for the last 50 plus years has always been the same. Self-defense, self-protection, taking care of myself and my family. It's the number one reason that people own and buy guns. And I've told you over and over again, and I stick to it, owning a gun is not enough. Knowing how to use it is required, but probably not what you think it is. A lot of people think, well, I can hit a target. I've been shooting all my life. That's nice, but that's really not what we're talking about. We're talking about fighting for your life, fighting tactics, fighting skills, not shooting skills, fighting. The only goal of fighting is to win. Not to shoot little groups, not to impress someone with your gun handling. It's to take care of the problem, to win, and to be able to go home. And frankly, to acquire those, I'm not even sure you can acquire those skills on your own. You have to go somewhere. You have to take classes. We keep saying training, and I think some people think that training is practice. Practice is not training. Training is not practice. They're two different things. And frankly, I am of the opinion that practice without training is certainly less than what you should be doing. And it may actually be harmful because you may be practicing and grooving bad habits and the wrong things. You need to go to a good trainer. And among good trainers, one of the best joins us right now, Tiger McKee from Shootrite Academy. Hey, Tiger, how you doing, man?
I'm doing outstanding, Tom. It's always good to be on your show, and it's the 4th of July weekend, so, I mean, how much better can you get, right?
There you go. Your ears should have been burning last week because I was out in Oregon with Clint and Heidi. Your name came up, of course.
Oh, cool. Hopefully in maybe a good way, right?
Oh yeah. You know, I mean, when we talk about trainers, Clint's got to be right there at the very top of the pyramid, don't you think?
No doubt about that. He was my mentor. I learned so much teaching with him and from the guys the crew he had assembled there. That was like a once in a lifetime experience. Like I trained with Jeff Cooper, right, and did some classes with him and all, and that was really great. But you learn so much from the other side of it, which is teaching other people these skills. And that's what Clint and the guys at Thunder Ranch helped me to do.
Well, and frankly, and I will just pass that along because it is one of the things that I enjoy about you so much is, yes, you know the information, you know what you're teaching, but you are a student not just of guns and shooting, but you are a student of teaching. And you are a good teacher. You present information in such a way that people, number one, understand it. It's not confusing. And number two, they retain it. And, you know, let's go back to what I started off with when people are always saying, well, you know, I've been shooting all my life. And I go, yeah, that's great. I don't even care if you're a good shot. It doesn't mean you know anything about what we're talking about. What you teach with self-defense, use of firearms, that's different from shooting, isn't it?
It's a whole different ball game. And shooting might not even be a part of solving your problem because at the top of our list of tactics is avoidance and escape. If I can spot trouble before it develops into something really bad, then it's the only thing you can win by not showing up.
Yeah, and I like the way Clint puts it. He says, look, we're also, one of the skills is communication. He says, you're generally in your life, you're going to talk to more people than you're going to shoot.
Yes, sir, and that's one of the things that a lot of instructors may not touch base on. The fundamentals are move because I want to be moving, and communicate is number two. And that means I'm issuing verbal commands to the threat. If I've got a team with me, and that doesn't mean a SWAT team, like husbands, wife, kids, family, friends, you've got to communicate with them. You may need to be the person that's standing there telling other people, you need to go out, leave now, take that exit, call 911 or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, it's a great point. And people say, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to tell them to leave. You go, no, it's actually more than that. It requires you to have thought of it. And, we talk about all these different trainers, and we work with Chris Sereno, and we were doing a scenario, and, Chris was an air marshal, has done all this other stuff, and he did something I'd not seen before. And I love working with different trainers because each of you has a different way of presenting it. And we had a group there, and he said, no, you don't just say, go out to the police, go out to the street and wave the police down. He says, you look at one of them and you point your finger at him and you go, you go out on the street right now and do this. Then another one, you call 911. You're breaking through the fog of whatever just happened, and you're singling them out because it's that old deal we talk about. If everybody's supposed to do it, then ends up nobody does it.
Yes, sir. So one of the things, you have to have a command presence, right?
Right.
You have to, it's kind of like issuing commands to your dog. Maxine, sit. Maxine, stay. If you don't have a command presence, which is a learned thing, your communication skills may not be up to par.
Yeah, it's funny because, and I tell the story, I know you've heard me tell it before, but I'll share it again. When I first did the first TV show about self-defense, personal defense TV, and we came out, and visited you, and I took the crew, the producer people out there, and we had lunch with you, and after lunch they're telling me, this is not going to work. This guy's never going to be good on TV. I said, just wait. I said, he's a soft-spoken Alabama guy. Don't let that worry you. We got out on the range, and your command presence came out, and they all went, whoa, what just happened? I said, I told you, this guy's going to be great, and you were.
And command presence, or whatever term you want to use, can be taken too far. Because if I walk around with my chest puffed out and trying to confront and convince everybody I'm the baddest one here, that could be taken as a challenge, right? So my job is to kind of blend in with everybody else until it comes the proper time it's necessary to flip that switch.
Yeah, be the gray man. Just kind of be invisible. Don't invite a problem. Don't provoke a problem. And get your ego out of the way, for heaven's sakes. I think, honestly, Tiger, that the more of this kind of training you get, the less likely you're going to end up needing your gun because you're going to understand, boy, there are a lot of ways to get hurt even when I'm the good guy in the whole deal.
That's part of the equation. Like we tell people, anytime you get involved in something, you need to answer 3 questions. Do I know the details of what's going on? Am I going to contribute to solving the problem versus complicating it for the people that need to be taken care of it? And then the last one is this worth risking my life? Because that's the capital we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a great point. And people say, well, how will I know? I said, well, actually, it can be pretty simple if you've thought about it ahead of time, which is I am probably not going to get involved in somebody else's back and forth yah-yah deal. But if somebody is coming at, but if somebody's coming at me or my family, then I have pretty much figured out what's going on. We have bad guy trying to hurt me and my family. There's not a whole lot of analysis that's necessary at that point.
It should be pretty cut and dried at that point, like you say. And the thing is, even if I see some kind of confrontation going on between strangers, it's not enough that I just don't get involved. What I need to do is get out of that area immediately, because if it does develop into something really bad, there's a lot of bleed over. Yeah,
the best way to win the fight is to not attend.
Yes, sir.
Don't be there.
Stand there filming it with your cell phone. Don't go, these guys are just arguing, because arguments turn into gunfights, and they don't really care where their bullets go.
No, they don't. That's the other thing, is the bad guys don't have a responsibility. They don't feel responsible for their bullets, whereas, each one of ours that we fire, we're responsible for. Know your target and what's behind it. They don't care. Tiger, hold on a second. I'm going to come back. We want to talk a little bit about what's going on with training right now. Has it changed Are the bad guys different? I'm thinking specifically body armor. Does that change what we do as far as our training? We're talking with Tiger McKee from Shootrite Academy, shootrite.org, shootrite.org. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk. All right, back with you. We're talking with Tiger McKee. He also wrote The Book of Two Guns. That's the title of the book. It's truly a unique book. It's different from anything I know of, and it's a wonderful dissertation, basically a thought process, a journey into self-defense with guns. Tiger, why would we use a pistol for self-defense?
The reason we use a pistol is because, number one, as far as what we can carry and have on us at that point in time, it's the best tool for the job. Okay,
and if we had a choice?
I would rather have me like a higher velocity rifle caliber, like say 223-556 with the proper ammo is excellent for self-defense. And one of the big misconceptions is people worry about over-penetration. The good thing about that round, it's a small, lightweight round moving fast. So as soon as it hits something denser than air, it starts tumbling, fragmenting, dissipating its energy. It'll penetrate less sheetrock and 2x4s than like your 9mm handgun round will.
Yep, and you have a lot of different kinds of ammo available. You say, if you were living in a trailer park, maybe you don't load it up with green tip. Maybe you go with varmint loads that are very frangible that'll work there, but you can tailor it for your situation.
Oh, yeah, and if you're going to hunt, the AR-15 platform is so versatile. You can set it up for anything you want and multiple purposes.
There you go. And anybody can shoot it because it is ergonomic and it is lightweight. That's what it was designed for. And the recoil is negligible. But you do, and I'm going to spin this back around to where we always end up. It is not instinctive. You do need training because people say, well, it's just not hard to shoot that. I can hit stuff with that. That's not the point. It's not about hitting stuff. It's learning to fight with it, which is move, shooting different positions, and boy, howdy, fixing malfunctions.
None of the stuff that we do with firearms is instinctual. And pretty much everything we have to do to use one efficiently, effectively, safely, goes against natural instinct. If you look at somebody that's even been around firearms, but they've never had really the proper training and repetitions through practice, when you pick one up, it's designed for your finger to be placed on that trigger. But like we know, keep the finger off the trigger until the sights are on target and you're ready to shoot. But instinctually, you will grip it with your finger inside the trigger guard.
Yeah, when most people, if they don't know guns, they pick up a gun, they're going to wrap their finger around and they're going to put their finger on the trigger every time.
Which should make you a little bit nervous.
It does. Oh, I picked up a great line from somebody. They said we were teaching a beginner to pick up a gun, particular pistol. They said, look, to pick up a pistol, make a pistol. And you make a finger gun with your hand, with your trigger finger pointed straight out, and that's how you pick up the gun. I went, well, that's pretty smart. I like that.
And then after that, you move into dummy pistols. Because nobody should handle a live firearm until they at least know the 4 basic safety rules.
So a dummy pistol, what else could you use a dummy pistol for?
They are great for practice. And they don't have moving parts. You don't put ammunition in them. They don't shoot. The vast majority, according to the experts, because I've read and studied people from the early 1900s and up, 95% of your practice should be done what they call dry practice without firing a shot. The dummy pistol allows you to practice like moving, drawing, using cover. A lot of things that you can't do on a standard range, but now you can practice it at home safely without the worries associated of using a real unloaded firearm.
And you can actually do your tap rack movements. You're not moving the gun, but you can practice all that stuff. And you can work on, drawing a magazine. You can work on, drawing and shooting, or not, basically shooting, but moving, maybe even your flashlight techniques, different things like that. And you have the opportunity to practice 100 times more often because you're doing it while you're at home.
And we know we learn through repetition. It doesn't matter what you know. If you don't practice it, you're not going to be able to apply it on demand under stress. So you've got to get all of this to a point where it's running at a subconscious level. The brain can say threat, and then you're moving, drawing the pistol, issuing verbal commands, looking for cover without ever really thinking about them.
You know, you say that, and people hear that, but I'm not sure they're understanding what you're talking about. You can get to a point, and I've done it like at the end of a 5-day class, where I actually had a malfunction while I was doing an El Presidente drill, and I did a tap rack and got the gun back in, finished it, and I had no memory of having ever done that.
That's where you need to be. If I have to operate at a conscious level, thinking about everything I do in the morning before I leave the house, I would never get out the door. But I put my pants on thousands of times. I've tied my shoes. All of this stuff is operating while I'm thinking about, okay, what are we going to have for lunch today?
Mm-hmm. And working your gun should be the same. I tell people it should feel as comfortable in your hand as the stick shift in your car. You shouldn't have to think about it. It's just like I do this all the time. I know what to do.
Perfect example.
I mean, it just
only the goal, in my opinion, is that eventually that firearm becomes part of your body. And I know everybody's going, oh, man, that's Zen, new age, whatever. But I'm talking about getting comfortable enough where if you had to use it, you're not fighting with the weapon against it, trying to make it do what you need it to do. You know what it can do, and you know how to make it do it without thought.
Well, you always were a bit of a hippie anyway,
I take a little bit of pride in that.
So what do you see in terms of people who are wanting to get training these days? Anything changing?
There's a lot more people that are recognizing that, wow, the world is a dangerous place. I need to be prepared to take care of myself, my family, whatever you're responsible for. I call it like the cult of responsibility, and it's a cult not being a bad thing here. You're just acknowledging, wow, I need to be able to do these things. And we're having a lot more groups that are booking that are made up of family members, husbands, wives, significant others, kids that are of age to do this, which to me is one of the coolest things because I got to spend a lot of time on the range with my dad and my grandfathers, but a lot of people don't get that. And it is it's a cool kind of connection, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. And from a tactical standpoint, that's your team. That's who's most likely going to be with you, whether they're carrying a gun or not. If you've all been through the training, you will react as a team and you understand each other. So that's a huge benefit.
And plus, it's just a good time for families to be together. You can forget about all the worldly stuff going on and kind of concentrate on something that makes you feel good. It's a sense of accomplishment.
One of the things we were working on over at Thunder Ranch is we're basically starting from the groin, trying to break the hip, but shooting right in the middle and just working up, just like 2 to the groin, 3 in the middle, and then take your time. Because if you've done all that and you get to the head and it's still there, you've got a real problem. You better make that shot count.
Yes, and Thunder Ranch has always taught pelvic shots, which, in my opinion, like you're talking about, that would be the first place I want to put my hits, because pretty much everybody that gets hit in the pelvis is going to go to the ground. Now, a few of those, the exceptions, will get back up, but if I can take away their mobility, that's a huge plus for my mission, which is let's get out of here to somewhere safer as soon as possible. I'm shooting to stop the threat. If I can put them on the deck, immobilize them, that makes my job a lot easier.
There you go. Then, of course, it also, the factor of possible body armor comes in. Tiger, it's shootrite.org, right?
Yes, sir. And actually, we finally got our website up and running again
after
a couple of years. So we do have a website working now.
All right. And you're booking people that want to take tutorials and private lessons and everything else. So just check it out there. if you're unsure, give Tiger a call. He'll work something out. And I'm just going to tell people, I recommend you highly. I've trained with you. I've spent my own money with you. So there you go.
I appreciate that, sir.
Thank you, Tiger. I appreciate that. Tiger McKee, he is one of the good ones. And talk about your student, a perpetual student of this, as well as a world-class instructor. Besides that, you just have a ton of fun. You get to spend some time with him. You can either go down to his place or he can come to yours.